So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how I make $3,400 per day by talking to people over Zoom calls. I'm gonna literally spoon feed you. So if you, by the end of this video, you don't know how to do this, you might be retarded, to be honest with you. Because I'm gonna break down everything, give you step by step exactly what I say on these calls, how I land a role like this where I can make this type of money, and how you can do the same thing, okay? And I'm saying this to someone myself, literally, like I was in a very shitty position a couple of years ago where I was trying a lot of different businesses. You know, I tried everything that you're watching this video that you've probably seen online. I've tried it. Amazon FBA, dropshipping, trading, SMA. I tried all that shit. I was broke, I was with my parents, and I was just lost in life overall and wondered like, how can I figure my shit out? How can I get freedom? How can I break out of being stuck in this loop? And what are these gurus doing different that's making all this money, you know? And then eventually I figured it out. Now I built my life that I dreamt of. You know, I built my dream life. I make multiple six figures every single year. I can travel the world, and I have the freedom that I dreamt of having back then. Okay, so all that to say that I want to share with you exactly what I did to get it, because it's very simple. You know, like a lot of people don't get this, but like it's not about hard work. It's not about just like working hard. You're probably someone watching this video right now that's already working hard. You know, like I was working extremely hard back in the day. So if you're watching this and you're like a driven, young, ambitious guy, the issue for you, the reason why you haven't seen your first 10K month online yet, is not because you're not working hard enough, most likely. It's because you are probably not in the right vehicle, okay? That's exactly why I was stuck before, okay? So let me explain to you like what I learned that really changed my life, so you can take some key lessons away from this and hopefully see success faster as well. So first off, understanding that if you're working like long hours right now, you're committed, you're trying to make money online. Maybe you have a 9 to 5, or maybe you're just in school and you're trying to like figure out the online game. If you're trying hard and like you're really committed to stuff and like you're actually putting in effort but nothing seems to be working out, it's probably because the business models that you're pursuing are very complex. Okay, think about like a video game. Like if you're trying to get into like a video game and like max out all these different stats as like the video game character, obviously it's gonna be hard. Same thing in business, you know. If you want to do a very popular business model these days is info product agency, you know, like having an info product operating business, or being a trader, or doing a TikTok shop, or wherever it is, you know, copywriting. The thing that these gurus aren't telling you that they are selling you these business models, they're not telling you these models are very complex, okay? For you to master like an agency, for example, you need to learn how to sell, how to book appointments, how to actually get results for your clients, how to do funnels, how to do marketing, how to copyright. These are all different stats that you need to master, like as your video game character, so to say, to actually make money. Okay, and obviously like mastering 5 to 7 different things is going to be way harder than mastering one. Understanding this is exactly what took me from being broke to making my first 10K a month in 3 months, and now making way more than that at 22 years old, okay? So understand this, that if you want to see fast success, okay, it's not about working hard, it's about getting yourself into a vehicle where you can apply yourself, focusing only on one skill instead of 5 different skills, okay? Because mastering one stat, like maxing out one single skill, is going to be so much simpler and faster, okay? So hopefully this makes sense. And what I decided to do, when I learned this a couple of years ago, like I was just broke, trying all different things, living with my parents, stressed out, wanting to get out of my parents' house. What I did to like figure my shit out was I realized this. I had a mentor at the time who told me this. It's like, okay, Alex, you need to focus on one skill. You know, like the reason why you're stuck is because you're doing these very complex business models. You know, you're trying to master marketing and sales and fulfillment and all these different skills at the same time when you're not really good at something to begin with. Just go all in on one skill, learn the most fundamental skill in business. That's what I did, you know. I got into sales. I actually got this advice from Alex Hermose's neighbor. He told me, he's like I reached out to him. I found him on Instagram. Actually, I kind of stalked him down. I reached out to him. I was like, hey man, like what should I do? I'm broke right now. I want to get out of my parents' house. I'm gonna leave my hometown. I want to start traveling. What skill? Like what should I be doing? Should I go all in my agency, or should I do something else? Should I do sales? You know, which is what he was doing at the time. And he was like, bro, like you should just think about your life and like your career as building a pyramid. If your long-term goal is building wealth, making millions of dollars, creating generational wealth, which my goal is, and probably most of you guys watching this video, that should be your goal as well, if you're watching this. Then what he told me to do is like you should focus on building skills, mastering the most fundamental skill in business, which is first off sales, and then stacking skills, but focusing on like really mastering each of these skills. Because if you just go like half in, kind of like learning a bit about sales, learning a bit about marketing, learning a bit about copywriting, a bit about fulfillment, a bit about service delivery. Like if you're learning a bit about these different things, you know, these different parts of a business, then you're only gonna like make as much money as like the depth of the skills that you have, you know. this is what he told me, that this really like changed my view on business. Like a business and ultimately how much money you make is dependent on how much value that you provide to your marketplace. Okay, how much value you provide is dependent on the skills that you have as a person, what you can provide, and what you're actually good at, you know. And to be honest, this took way longer than it should have for me to understand this. So that's why I'm telling you this, because hopefully you can avoid making the mistake that I made, which kept me stuck for multiple months. Okay, but eventually I realized, okay, I should go all in on learning a skill. If I learn the most fundamental skill in business, which is sales, I'm not going to become a millionaire overnight, but that's also not the point of this game. I am going to be able to actually get freedom. I'm going to be able to start learning a skill that's going to allow me to start getting paid, start providing value to other businesses, start getting good connections, start making 10K a month, leave my hometown, etc. So that's what I did. You know, I went all in on this, learning the most fundamental skill in business, which is sales. And then I applied that. I decided to go into the industry right now that's called the e-learning industry, which basically, you know, people like Iman Gadzhi, you know, Alex Hermosi, Grant Cardone, all of these online people that sell courses, mentorships, and like masterminds, agency services. That's the e-learning industry. Okay, so it's a fast-growing industry. These people are making a shit ton of money right now in this courses, mentorships, these type of people. So what I did is I learned how to sell for these online people. It's called high-ticket sales. It's when you go and sell for an online influencer. You take Zoom calls on their behalf. You have a calendar that you get booked in calls on every single day. You take calls for about 4 to 6 hours, talk to people on their behalf, and then it's close deals for the business owners and get paid commission for doing so. Okay, so that's why I decided to go all into, because I realized, okay, in this space I have a lot of valuable connections. If I get well connected and I build a lot of value in this industry, I'm gonna get good connections. You'll be able to learn and get mentored by high level people. I can make money. I can travel while doing it. I can leave my hometown. So I went all in it. You know, I committed to it. I went all in on the skill of sales, and it was hard to do because I had to kind of just like let go of all these other plans of like I'm going to be a business owner, blah blah blah, and I had to go all in on sales. But doing this, it completely changed my life. It completely changed everything for me, because what I did, I had to just like learn the skill of talking to people, which was way simpler. I already kind of knew like how to talk to people, and if you're watching this right now, you're fairly good at just communication. You like talking to people to begin with, which, in my opinion, regardless if you do like that or not, you should learn the skill, but that's a discussion for another day. If you like talking to people and if you want to like master that skill, which you should be looking to do, then it's so simple. Like you just use that skill, you learn a framework, and I'll give you the framework in a second of like, well, I actually sell my calls to close deals and make this much money in the space. But I just learned a framework of like how to run my actual sales calls. Like what do I say when I hop on a Zoom call with someone? Like how do I open the call? What questions do I ask them? How do I pitch them? And when they give me objections, how do I close the deal? I learned that, and after learning that, it didn't take me too long, like just a couple of weeks to learn that skill, practicing it a bit with other people. I was able to come into a role, start making money doing this, go from zero to my first $10,000 per month in about 3 months of starting off in this industry, which was like mind-blowing because I've been trying online business before that for almost 2.5 years. You know, agency trading, affiliate marketing, Amazon FBA, all these different things, nothing had worked out. And I got into high-ticket sales. I learned one skill, landed one goal, and I started making 10K like, in profit in my third month. It's like pretty insane, to be honest, you know. And not just me, but I have at this point I also have like a community now where I coach other guys, and my one-on-one coaching is called my inner circle, where I've helped a bunch of other guys that are as young as 18, 19 years old to land high-ticket sales roles and start making money in this industry. So I'm not telling you to plug this community, I'm telling you that because just to show you like what's really possible in this space. If you just have the drive and commitment and like the hard work, like the work ethic, and you put it into the right vehicle, you can see success so quickly. Because this is about learning the skill, learning how to sell, like how to talk to on your calls, and then landing one good role. That's all you need. For example, I have one guy, I've made a video with him on the channel before. His name is Jacob. He's 19 years old, from Sweden, just like me. He came into this industry. He struggled making it between like $200 to $500 for almost a year. And then I helped him through my coaching, through my mentorship, get him trained up on the skill, get him into proper business. And now he's making over $8,000 per month consistently as a 19-year-old. Okay, and there's a bunch of other people who have done this as well. But regardless of that, like just understand that this is the path to go. If you're right now, you haven't started making money online yet, you want to get that freedom, you're able to start traveling. This is literally the shortcut to create freedom for yourself in your early 20s. So now I'm going to tell you how to actually do this, what do you actually say on your sales calls, how do you run a call to actually make these type of commissions, close deals, and actually get paid properly in this industry. And then at the end, I'm also going to tell you how you can land these killer roles as well, which is super, super key. So how do you run these sales calls? I follow a very, very simple formula that is basically split into a couple of different parts of my sales calls. Like when I run a sales call, how I open up the call is you can hop on the call with someone. The person you talk to, they booked in on your calendar, that's provided by the business that you work for. They provide you with leads that are inbound, they're already warmed up, they want to talk to you. When you hop on a sales call, first thing you do is just introduce yourself. Yo man, nice to meet you, where are you based out of, blah blah blah, like a bit of a small talk, not too long, just keep it straight to the point, short and sweet. So then you set the frame for the call. What does that mean? We just tell them what's gonna happen on the call. So hey man, like on these calls, usually one fun works best is just like having a quick conversation, so you kind of like where you're at, what goals if you have, and they'll be able to see if I can help you out, and if that makes sense, I'll walk you through how it works. If it doesn't make sense, I'll point you in a different direction. Super straight to the point, short intro to the call, setting the frame, what's gonna happen, so they feel at ease, they know what's gonna happen, and then we just dive into it. First thing I usually dive into on my calls, if you're selling towards consumers, so selling B2C is what it's called, that's usually the best place to start as a beginner. See, and what you're doing then, typically you start off with the goals. We go into, okay, so for you man, like what's your end goal? Like what are you hoping to achieve with getting into X, Y, and Z, whatever the offer is? And then they tell you about what the goal is, figure out, okay, how much money do you want to be making? What are your non-monetary goals? You know, we figure out where they want to go, then we figure out where they're at right now, what they do for work, what are they doing for work currently, how much are they making currently, how long have they been doing that. We then begin to the actual pain. Because that's how you make a sale, you know, you figure out the heaven island, where the person wants to be, and then the hell island. The more clearly you can define and separate these two different situations, the more urgency and the more reason to make change is the prospect gonna feel, and they're obviously gonna buy because of that. You know, so you wanna separate these two different scenarios and just make very clear where they wanna be and how great that's gonna be for them. Get them to feel that, and then get them to step into how bad their life is right now, and really fill the gap in between there. The more you can separate those two, the more likely the person is to buy, and then your job is to position the pitch in between there. So we figure out the pain, the problem, what happens if they don't make a change, what's the cost of inaction, what's the cost of staying the same. We figure out why they haven't taken action before, what's been holding them back in the past, and then we can overcome their objections already in the beginning of the call. This is something that I do on my sales calls that help me close people way faster and make my calls is like 20 to 30 minutes long, is by overcoming people's objection right in the beginning of the call. This is a very, very good hack that I would recommend you guys use if you're trying to get into the space, because it helps you shorten down your calls more effectively, and you don't have to get like I need to think about the objection at the end. So you dig into what the objection has been in the beginning of the call before you pitch them. Then, once you overcome the objection, we figure out why they haven't taken action before, we overcome that. Then we get into the pitch. Fun stuff, pitch, super simple, just pitch them about how their journey is gonna look like going from where they are to their goal with your program, exactly how you can help them. And important thing here, you need to get them bought in on your vehicle of success. This is super important. This has been one of the biggest things that helped me get to the point where I'm at today, where I'm making this type of commissions from high ticket sales, is by getting very good at selling people on the vehicle and selling them on the way to think to actually get the results that they want to get, okay? Then on the day, sales is all about helping people. You need to just be the person that the prospect needs you to be. Like if you're talking to someone who needs someone who can lead them, someone who can challenge them to step up and overcome their fear, you need to be that person. And that's why high ticket sales is all about self-development. The more certain, the more confident, and the more of a strong leader you become, the better you will do in high ticket sales. When I started investing in myself, I started holding myself to higher standards and leading myself better in my own life and dialing in my habits, my routines, etc. I showed up and I closed way more deals and made way more money because of this. Because who you are is what transfers into how you sell as well, okay? So anyways, that's how you run for the call. We get to the pitch. After the pitch, we make sure the person actually wants to do it. We do what's called a temp check, so make sure that person actually is committed to the process. Then we drop the price, drop the investment, and then whatever objection they gives us, we put them aside, put the objection to the side, and we make sure they actually want to do the program. So it's called pacing the first objection. We tie down that this person is actually confident about the program. And then once we've done that, we can handle the objection. And if there's still objection there, we handle it and then we close the deal. And usually what it comes down to is simply uncertainty. That's what most objections come down to. If you ever heard, I need to think about it, I need to talk to my wife, it's typically uncertainty. There is putting up a smoke screen to get off the call. So we put objection to the side, we handle the uncertainty, overcome that, close the deal. This is typically how a sales call goes. This can go between, as a beginner, usually around like 30 to 45 minutes. And then you just take a couple of these calls every single day from Zoom, from your laptop. Yes, like I'm sitting right here with my laptop right now in Medellin, Colombia. And you can just do this from anywhere. And then how you make this much money from doing it, how you can get to like 20, 30, 40, 50K per month with this industry is just by getting better at the skill. When you get better, when you get more efficient on your calls, when your closing rate gets better, you will end up making more money. It's not a like salary job, where you have a set salary every single month. It's a commission-based role where, like, depending on how good you are, you make more money as well. This also means that when you get better, you can get into better offers, or you can just get better in your current offer and make money as a result of that. And then eventually you can get into sales management, which is what I've been doing recently, where you can start managing entire sales teams, taking a percentage of the sales team, and that's how you can make a shit ton of money. I'm talking like even 6 figures plus per month by doing this, by having the skills developed at such a high level that you can come into sales teams, consult them, run the entire sales team, and get paid for doing so as well. Now on to the last thing I know you guys have been waiting for is how do we actually land these roles and how do you actually get into your first active sales role. Number one is you need to learn the skill set. Okay, if you don't know how to sell, you're not going to land a good role. So just like understand that, learn a script, learn a process to follow. I have a bunch of videos on this, check those out. But then when it comes to actually landing a good role, that's probably the most important thing, because if you can have the best skill set, but if you're in a shitty role, you're not going to make any money. So how do we land a good offer where you can actually make good money, you have a lot of people to speak with, you have a good opportunity? Honestly, the best way to do it in 2025 is by being in the right circles, being in the right rooms, having access to the right communities, groups, because most of the good roles are behind closed doors, frankly. So if you have someone like myself or someone else in the space who has a good reputation and like they've helped people in terms of sales teams and they've done well in the closing space, that's the best way, because those people get sent, like myself, I get sent a bunch of companies every single day that want to hire directly from my network, and then I place people that I've trained into those companies. So that's the easiest and the fastest way. Obviously it's pay to play, it's not free to do that. If you want to go the free route for whatever reason, then I highly recommend focusing on personalized outreach. It definitely still works. It's going to take more time, it's harder to do, but it works. So you want to do personalized outreach on different platforms like school, Instagram, and actually put in the effort. Your competition, most other people, they don't do any effort whatsoever. They just do the bare minimum. So just put in some effort, put in a little bit of effort to actually make good outreach, and you will have a chance of landing a role doing that way as well. And then you can come into this industry, start making money, start closing deals, start living the good life, and things like that. So that's it for this video. If you guys want to join my inner circle and get coached by me one-on-one to learn how to sell at the highest level and actually land good high-ticket sales roles straight from my network, and you apply by we can call down this video. Talk to me directly, see if I can fit, see if I can actually help you out or not. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Let's get it. Ciao.